A man walks down the highway with a child, followed by thousands of zombies. This scene is horrifying to behold. Morgan walks haltingly, as if deliberately waiting for the zombies. He looks down at the child and says, "I really hope you don't remember any of this when you grow up." But then he thinks that if the child can grow up strong in such an environment, he would be content. At that moment, the sound of horse hooves approaches. It's Dwight and his wife coming to help. They are relieved to see Morgan has saved the child. Morgan shares the news of Dory's sacrifice. The atmosphere is heavy. In this apocalypse, they've lost another good friend. Dwight asks why there are so many zombies following them. Morgan looks back at the horde and says, "After Dory handed little Morgan to me, some zombies followed. I let them, and their numbers just grew." Victor feels safe in the building because it's surrounded by a massive army of zombies. With the zombies now diminished, it's their best chance to attack before night falls. Otherwise, Victor's spotlights will attract the zombies back. Dwight suggests they can lure the zombies into a pit, so they won't gather under the building again. Morgan agrees with the plan. Suddenly, gunshots ring out, and they immediately take cover behind a car. They realize it's Victor's cavalry, apparently out to hunt Morgan. The novice horsemen, unable to see their target, keep firing blindly. The zombies are drawn towards the noise. Morgan knows he can't let the zombies scatter and asks Dwight for a handgun. He instructs them to take little Morgan back to the submarine and secure the hatch. He's going to regroup the zombies. As the horsemen continue to shoot at Morgan, unaware of the severity of the situation, the zombies reach them, followed by screams. The Dwight couple was also riding horses and quickly heading towards the submarine. Morgan shouts and fires his gun, drawing the zombies' attention back to him.
Hey, stay on me!
Half an hour later, Dwight and Sherry have moved a significant distance, lovingly holding the child. Dwight had a deep affection for the child in his arms, but when they look up, they see a masked man pointing a gun at them. Dwight says they don't want trouble, but the man mockingly asks if they plan to kill him. As they speak, Sherry pulls out her gun and aims at him. The man removes his mask, revealing himself to be Wes, sent by Victor to retrieve the child. Dwight laughs, not intimidated by Wes. He tries to persuade Wes to change his ways, but Wes is unyielding. Sherry doesn't waste words and shoots him, incapacitating Wes temporarily. They take Wes's gun but don't kill him. Dwight reflects on how Wes reminds him of his time with the Saviors. Meanwhile, Morgan continues forward with the zombies, but then, realizing there might be an ambush, he quickly takes cover behind an abandoned car. An explosion draws the zombies in another direction. At that moment, a hand quietly approaches Morgan. It turns out to be Alicia. Morgan, without time for pleasantries, urgently pulls Alicia, ready to leave the area, fearing an ambush by Victor's cavalry. However, Alicia reveals the explosion was her doing. She thought Morgan was being chased by zombies and used the explosion to help him escape, inadvertently causing more trouble. Morgan starts shouting and shooting again, drawing the zombies' attention back. Once the zombies start moving towards Morgan again, he asks Alicia how she ended up here, when she returned, and how her illness is. Alicia grimly replies that her condition is the same and that she couldn't find others to join them. She heard Victor threatening Morgan on the radio and rushed back. Morgan shares his plan with Alicia, and they continue leading the zombies forward. Sherry and Dwight stay near a small town by the submarine because they can't contact it. Dwight believed that Victor's cavalry was tracking them, so the people on the submarine needed to be prepared to receive them. While Sherry is anxious, Dwight casually makes toys for little Morgan, clearly enjoying the child's company. Dwight dreams of having a child with Sherry, but she is upset, not wanting to see Dwight acting fatherly with little Morgan, showing strange behavior since the last episode. During their argument, the radio finally responds. Sherry urgently tells Luciana to open the hatch when they arrive and then seal the submarine, fearing they're being tracked by Victor's cavalry, but Luciana warns them not to come back. Dwight realizes something is wrong. Luciana explains there's a radiation leak in the engineering compartment, and they're evacuating. Dwight cursed under his breath.
Shit!
The submarine couldn't go back, and they couldn't stay here indefinitely. He thought that maybe the cavalry had overheard their conversation earlier and knew they were near the submarine. Their best chance was to keep moving to avoid being discovered. When Dwight grabs Sherry's backpack, she becomes visibly nervous, as if hiding something. Curious, Dwight looks inside and finds several nautical charts. His first thought is that Sherry plans to leave him. He asks where she went this morning. Sherry hesitantly admits she was preparing the emergency boat in the submarine. Dwight, heartbroken, asks if she plans to leave him after all they've been through. Sherry denies it, saying the boat isn't for her but for him. Confused, Dwight questions her logic. Sherry explains that Victor once offered them a chance to join the building and she knows Dwight would do anything for her. She wants him to leave to prevent him from joining Victor and becoming someone he hates. Frustrated, Dwight reminds her they've already discussed and decided not to join Victor. He's upset that his wife still doubts him. Sherry, feeling wronged, picks up the nautical charts from the ground. Dwight feels mistrusted, noting Sherry's recent strange behavior. After calming down, Dwight asserts he would never join Victor, calling the idea nonsense. As he speaks, Wes appears at the doorway with 2 cavalrymen, threatening Dwight that he can't escape and that more cavalry are on their way. He demands the child. Dwight opportunistically says, "If we give you the child, what's in it for us?" Sherry looks at him, shocked. Dwight, somewhat spitefully, adds, "Since you think we're going to lose, might as well get something out of it." Then, he turns to Wes and asks, "If we give you the child, can we still join the building?" Wes arrogantly replies that he can't decide that but will put in a good word for them.
What? I'm not gonna try and be a better person if you don't even think I can. Pick her up.
As Dwight approaches them, Sherry, following Dwight's instructions, picks up little Morgan. As Dwight gets closer, Wes signals the cavalryman to check him for weapons. In that moment, Dwight suddenly attacks, taking down one cavalryman before turning to shout at Sherry. Wes then pounces, overpowering Dwight to the ground. Realizing she must leave so Dwight isn't distracted, Sherry quickly departs with little Morgan. 10 minutes later, Sherry has escaped to some ruins with little Morgan. She hears some noise, relieved to find it's Dwight. Dwight wonders why Sherry has stopped, only to find she's changing little Morgan's diaper. He shares his escape story. He didn't kill Wes but managed to delay him. With 5 or 6 cavalrymen on their trail, they need to find a temporary hiding place. They don't get far before Sherry notices a sign for the Franklin Hotel, the same place Teddy once held Alicia.
Hey, does anybody know where that bunker is? The one Teddy locked up Alicia in?
I might be able to answer that.
To their surprise, the person responding from inside is Alicia. Alicia mentions she's with Morgan, and the bunker is beneath the Franklin Hotel. Sherry decided to take shelter in the bunker, and Dwight asked Alicia if there were any other exits. Alicia tells him there's only one unstable drainage ditch they can use to leave. Hearing this, Dwight urgently tells Sherry they shouldn't enter. The cavalry might have overheard their radio conversation and could trap them. They should cross the crater and meet with Morgan. Sherry objects, noting the high radiation levels there. Dwight is puzzled since they have protective masks, and little Morgan's protective box is doubly secure. However, Sherry adamantly refuses. Dwight explodes in frustration, accusing Sherry of doubting him about joining the building and now unwilling to protect the child by taking the crater route. As he moves to take little Morgan, Sherry, left with no choice, reveals the truth.
I think I might be pregnant.
Dwight's demeanor immediately softens, and he repeatedly asks if it's true. He's genuinely happy, realizing this has been his dream. No wonder Sherry refuses to go to the radiation-heavy area. She's pregnant. Understanding, Dwight follows Sherry into the bunker, where they hide in a room. Sherry apologizes, saying she should have told him sooner. Dwight only cares about how far along she is. Sherry estimates a few weeks and mentions she has a pregnancy test in her backpack, which she hasn't checked yet. She's been hesitant because she knows Dwight might join the building to ensure her safety. Sherry fears that joining Victor's building could turn Dwight back into the man he was with the Saviors. She likes who Dwight is now and believes his qualities are suited for fatherhood. Hence her plan with the boat to get him away. She wanted their child to know the real Dwight, not the person Victor wanted him to become. Dwight realizes he's misjudged his wife and apologizes, promising not to make such a decision. They agree to face all challenges together, relieving Sherry. Their misunderstanding cleared. They are about to check the pregnancy test when they hear noise outside. It could be the cavalry, forcing them to move deeper into the bunker. Meanwhile, Morgan and Alicia, leading the zombies, arrive at the crater. Strangely, despite Dwight's claim of thousands of zombies, the crater is eerily empty. At this moment, the zombies following them were also drawing near. It was only then that Morgan noticed a ladder inside the pit. It seemed someone had let all the zombies out. Even if they lured the zombies in, the creatures would climb back out again. Morgan immediately contacted Dwight to tell them they would find a new location to secure the zombies. Inside the bunker, Dwight and his wife unexpectedly found a weapon once belonging to Alicia. The radio signal was poor, but they barely managed to hear Morgan's message. They decided they must hurry out to help Morgan deal with the zombies, but Victor's cavalry was already at the exit's location. Finding them was only a matter of time. Their only option was to leave through the sewer Alicia had mentioned, still partially blocked with rubble. Outside, Sherry looked up at the smoke alarm and asked Dwight how loud he thought the alarm was.
Pretty loud. Why?
She had an idea. Morgan, leading the zombies, would surely pass by here. The alarm could attract them. This way, they could trap the zombies in the bunker and also deal with the cavalry. Meanwhile, Wes and his people had arrived inside the bunker and entered the room. Just then, the alarm went off. Wes, already frustrated from not finding anyone, was even more annoyed by the alarm and immediately ordered his men to turn it off. Morgan and Alicia also arrived. Naturally, hearing the alarm above ground, Alicia guessed Dwight and the others must have triggered the fire alarm and immediately surmised Dwight's intention. Morgan was worried they might get trapped inside, but Alicia assured him she had told them about another way. Dwight and Sherry, along with little Morgan, had already crawled into the sewer, but soon realized something was wrong. It felt like the tunnel might collapse at any moment. They realized that zombies might be right above them. Morgan and Alicia hadn't anticipated the fragility of the tunnel. They were still persistently guiding zombies into the bunker. Morgan tried to contact Dwight to ask if he was already in the sewer, but there was no response after several attempts. Alicia explained that there's no signal below. They would lead the zombies in and then wait for the others at the sewer exit.
Let's go!
Come on! Come on!
Inside, the cavalry hadn't yet realized the impending danger. They were still following Wes's orders to try and shut off the power. By the time they turned around, they realized they were already surrounded by zombies. In the tunnel, Dwight was still hurrying forward, but the worst did happen. Small pieces of rubble fell in front of Sherry. Fortunately, she and the child weren't hit. Dwight breathed a sigh of relief and prepared to continue forward. A more significant collapse occurred. The other cavalry inside the bunker also encountered zombies. They had thought they were the hunters, but it turned out they were the clowns themselves. Wes, with the help of his subordinates, narrowly escaped and by chance ended up at the mouth of the sewer. It's uncertain if he would discover the exit and escape. In the tunnel, Dwight and Sherry were safe but blocked by rocks ahead. Undoubtedly, they were trapped. Despite his efforts, Dwight couldn't move the rocks. They didn't blame each other. Dwight apologized to Sherry and little Morgan. Sherry knew her husband had done his best. She took out a pregnancy test, deciding to view the result with him. They had resolved their issues before and decided to face whatever came together. Each holding one end, they decided to witness the result together. The plus sign on the device confirmed that Sherry was indeed pregnant. They were going to have a baby. Dwight, though they were in a dire situation and unsure if they would survive, was overjoyed and thanked his wife for bringing new life into their family. Moved by Dwight's unwavering attitude, Sherry teared up. She felt they shouldn't give up so easily. Their happy life shouldn't end this way. She took out Alicia's weapon, determined to try again to clear a path. Morgan has already been waiting outside at the drain, while Alicia is responsible for killing the approaching zombies. Morgan found it odd they hadn't emerged yet and was getting worried. Alicia could only comfort Morgan to wait a little longer. A few minutes later, they seemed to hear little Morgan's cries from the pipe. Looking closer, they saw Sherry, covered in dust and dirt, crawling out. They quickly went forward to help. Next came Dwight, carrying little Morgan. Morgan immediately embraced the child. The operation was fraught with danger, but fortunately, everyone was still alive. Dwight shared their ordeal in the tunnel with Alicia, thanking Sherry for not giving up. Sherry, presenting Alicia's weapon, remarked that without it, they would have had a hard time clearing the tunnel. She offered it back to Alicia. Looking at the weapon in front of her, Alicia's expression is complex. She leaves it for Sherry to use, as she has lost a hand and is no longer suited to wield it. Alicia had planned to return to the submarine to prepare for an assault on the building before nightfall, but Dwight informed her that due to a radiation leak, the submarine was no longer an option. Morgan turned to Alicia, saying she would have to lead everyone in the fight. Grace had left a recording in the child's clothing, instructing him to take the child away from this place for safety, but Alicia noted that even if they wanted to leave now, it wasn't possible. Sherry then spoke up, saying she had a way. Her plan was for Morgan to use the small boat she had prepared earlier. As the radiation extended for thousands of miles, Sherry mentioned that she had encountered a woman searching for her son, who comes from a place free of contamination, just hoping Morgan could find this place. Dwight tries to persuade Sherry that they can leave together, but Sherry insists on staying to fight alongside everyone. Subsequently, Dwight places the toys he made earlier into the small boat, hoping everything goes well for Morgan.
Appreciate it.
After Morgan leaves, Alicia gathers her emotions from the farewell and takes on the responsibilities of a leader. This time, it was truly time for the final battle with Victor.
We gotta move! Sun sets in a few hours.